Welcome to Sheriff's Talk, a public affairs program of KWN TV7. Join us every week as we talk various aspects of law enforcement and how important it is for the citizens and law enforcement to work together. Now join us for another edition of Sheriff Talk on KWN Live and Local TV Channel 7. Welcome into KWN TV, another edition of Sheriff Talk here. As we get into a brand new month in August, we welcome you into the program. Thank you for joining us as you do every week as we take a look at law enforcement around the Tri-City area and around the country. We welcome Sheriff Cross, Sheriff Bo Barnett, and Detective. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Welcome all of y'all to the program.
Thank you.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
And this we'll kick things off. I think you had something that happened earlier this week you wanted to start things off with this morning.
Yeah, we had a Sheriff Burnett and Sheriff Hammond out of Hamilton County both had a subject, a fugitive that had warrants on him. I think y'all had 2 or 3 warrants on him, Sheriff.
I called. We had 3.
3, and Hamilton County had 2 burglary warrants on him. We got a tip yesterday that he was held up in a trailer at a residence, and went out yesterday. Our detectives and our K-9 officers went out and found the guy, barricaded himself in a mobile home, and they were able to apprehend the subject and get him in jail. So he's waiting extradition back to either Marion or Hamilton, whoever gets him first. He's facing a lot of charges.
All right. Do you know, was he from Dade County or from
I don't
Marion?
think. I think he,
Actually from Jackson County.
I think he is. I think he's from Jackson County. Been looking for him for.
I think some of his, like his maybe his grandmother or grandfather was originally had lived in Marion County, but I think they all live in Jackson County now. So
Yeah.
All right. You care to share what part of Sand Mountain you said it was?
Yeah, it was on Gas Road.
Okay. Now, is this in connection with the person you were able to apprehend about a week ago, or it was different?
I think they're all connected.
Yeah, they're all connected. Connection of people that's been stealing.
We've had
stealing
about
cars.
3 or 4 individuals that have stolen vehicles left and right. And right, that's what I was telling the sheriff. Will come on there. I think we got them all in jail right now. If I just keep them in jail.
Pretty much. Yeah.
One of the guys that we caught Friday, they interviewed him yesterday, and we found a truck on the interstate with a truck was stolen, the motorcycle was stolen, and we've had a bunch of vehicles stolen here.
Yeah, I had a guy call me Saturday about an attempt at one of our local gas stations, and went in and checked the video, and they didn't have anything showing that attempt had occurred. So we're still trying to follow up on that lead.
All right. Well, maybe I know we'll have the information as far as name and everything in the arrest reports that we'll get here before too much longer. So it's good, I guess, taking him in custody without any problems.
Well, I can give you his name now. His name is Jeffrey Adam Turner.
Okay.
And, go ahead and release that. He's in jail.
So he was arrested here from a tip from Marion County and Hamilton County.
Yes.
Good deal. It's everybody working together once
That
again.
is.
You know, trying to, no matter, it's one thing that I've seen on this program time and time again. It doesn't matter if it's state lines or there's county lines or city lines. That really doesn't matter. The criminals can't run.
Right.
And I think they get the false impression that well, if I could just make it across the line, I'll
They
be all
must
right.
think we don't ever talk to each other. They don't know we probably talk weekly, don't
That's
we?
right. Or if not, yeah, exactly.
Well, that is true. Well, that that's good because there had been a lot of vehicles that was it in? I mean, I don't want you to go into any kind of investigation, but were these vehicles are being stolen for the vehicles or for their parts? Sometimes you get into chop shops, I guess. I mean, why have we seen the rise?
The ones we had were just, I don't think really connected to a chop shop. They were just stealing to be stealing, I guess. I don't know. just it all goes back to drugs, doesn't it, Sheriff? I mean, they steal to buy and sell and get drugs. It all goes back to drugs.
Matter of fact, he had several meth pipes in the residence when we didn't find any meth, but we did find residue in the pipes and stuff. But we're not going to pursue that because they've got serious charges on him in Hamilton and Marion, so they will let him go on and get those, face charges on those.
Well, that sounds good. I guess that also sounds like I should have turned off my phone.
He's in court, you'd have to pay $50 fine.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
wait.
Well, that's what to say, but I don't think nobody's ever paid it.
Well, they won't even let you in down here with the phone inside
Well, I've
the court.
stopped
No.
So.
Because we've had so many that go off in court. And session judge ain't too bad. Those criminal judges, they just go ballistic. Because I got tickled one day that somebody's phone went off and the judge, I ain't gonna call the judge's name, but boy, he jumped all over this person. And it's funny, it wasn't 10 minutes later, his phone went off.
Wow.
He said, well, I guess I'll have to pay a fine, but I don't know if he ever did.
All right, we're going to. After that, we'll take a break. Stay with us. Our first break of the show. We'll have more Sheriff Talk coming up.
Rising Fawn Hardware is your place for all your gardening needs. Seeds, onion sets, cabbage, strawberry plants, and more. A complete line of home hardware items, too. Everything for the house, including plumbing, hardware, and metal roofs. Plus, Rising Fawn Hardware has everything you need for your livestock, including name brands like Nutria, Tucker, and Faithway. Always with a hometown atmosphere, it's Rising Fawn Hardware. 4300 Highway 11 South in Rising Fawn. Open 8 in the morning till 6 at night, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and 8 to noon on Wednesday. Even open on Saturday from 8 until 4. Rising Fawn Hardware. The Moore family name has built a legacy of trust, compassion, and peace of mind by standing with families during time of loss. Now in our 70th year, the Moore family commitment grows even stronger, from affordable, traditional services to cremation. Our experienced staff stands ready to follow through on you and your family's wishes. Since 1945, the Moore family of funeral homes, North Sand Mountain and Trenton, always dedicated to those we serve. Come hungry and leave satisfied at Cloud's Pizza, Highway 71 in Higdon. Cloud's Pizza uses only the freshest ingredients, and we hand toss our own pizza dough. Our pizzas are made from scratch when you order, so they're always fresh. And don't forget about our famous Sand Mountain cheese sticks. You can eat from the daily buffet or try a mouth-watering hamburger or cheeseburger. Come see your friends at Cloud's Pizza, Highway 71 in Higdon, and never leave hungry. Call ahead at 597-3100 for Cloud's Pizza. Visit us on Facebook at Cloud's Pizza and more.
Come see us at Cloud's Pizza.
Georgia Northwestern Technical College is now accepting applications for classes. We offer programs in business, health, industrial, and public service at 6 campus locations with financial aid options as well. Take day, evening, or online classes to get your degree, diploma, or certificate. Apply now. Drop by one of our campuses today or check us out at gntc.edu. Georgia Northwestern Technical College.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
145 over 92.
180 over 111.
182 over 100. And I had a heart attack and a cardiac arrest. And then a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life.
A lot of people don't understand, including myself, I didn't, now I do, the impact of having a stroke.
My memory is shot.
When I woke up, I couldn't speak.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
It's a tough journey.
Lowering your high blood pressure could save you from a heart attack or stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
It's a new life, but I'm going to make it better. I'm coming back. Ask your doctor, check your blood pressure.
Back now to Sheriff Talk here on KWN-TV, visiting as we do, talk about various things that are happening. We're right in the middle of summertime. We haven't talked a lot about outdoor safety, as far as the people being outdoors. I guess a lot of people are, Sheriff, aren't they? Are they getting out?
Yeah, there's more. I'm not a boating person, but I've got officers are, and I've heard one of them say a couple weekends ago he'd seen more boats out on the lake that particular Saturday than he'd ever seen. Of course, we had a drowning last week up here, just as you, just right there at the county line in Tennessee River. Actually, Hamilton County recovered the body, but I think it was a man and his boys swimming, and he went down. But that's on one we've had so far. We've had a lot of people. We've had a lot of people lost or fallen, and the EMA people have been out last 3 weekends. Foster Falls has got a great big place up there, and a lot of people go up there and they'll fall, and then over here in Mullins Cove they rock climb. I'm not going to climb no perfectly good bluff myself, but and those people, a lot of them get up there and fall and get hurt, and that's sent a lot of personnel to go up there and retrieve them. And we had one lost, so it's been EMA people have been busy last month.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's typical for outside activities.
Well, my argument's always been, these people out here doing this, and they don't understand all the manpower. I've read where some jurisdictions send them a bill when you're talking about 6, 7 men or women out, walking in hot snakes. That last part, snakes.
We don't use that word.
That does me, and I can't handle snakes. But those people are volunteers, and they do that.
And you talking about that? We talked about Cody, the engineer of this program. He left the station the other day and walked out and was going down the sidewalk, and he turned around and walked back in. And he said, "I'm not much into snakes, and there's one laying right out there."
Oh my goodness! Right out here.
Yeah, right out on the sidewalk up next to the building.
He shaking his head, yes.
What kind of snake was it?
No, neither one of us were into catching snakes.
Well, last year I pulled up at O'Reilly's parts store, and when I got out there, 6, 7 guys all backing up, and I walked over and I said, "What's wrong?" There's a snake about that long in front of the door, and it backed them. A little young girl inside that I know lives out in the country. She come out there and she just took her foot and caught it, and walked over, and she backed 10 men off of it.
Well,
a couple years ago, governor's special drug task force come down with a helicopter to search for dope, and they were over at high school one day, and I went over there to check on them and asked them how it was going. They had a cooler sitting there and said, "Sheriff, you thirsty? You want something to drink?" They had Powerade and stuff. I said, "Yeah." He goes, "It's somewhere in that cooler." I went over and raised that lid up, and they had a simulated rattlesnake with a piece of fishing line tied with his mouth up like that with a fang.
Didn't hurt yourself getting away, did you?
Yeah. They got several people that day with that. It was pretty good.
We had one at the range. What, last year? David Hughes ended up.
Yes, rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. It was probably about this big around. It was nasty.
I'm telling you. Well, you talk about somebody. I went next door because I said, "Well, somebody needs to get rid of this snake for sure." I went next door to the furniture store, and the guy that helps them over there, and he come around over here. He had a tool and picked it up by the tail. It was a rat snake, but still,
it was a snake.
It was a snake, But it looked brown up against that brick. They kind of take on the appearance of where they were at. It's about that long. But he said he's just out here sunning on this hot sidewalk. That's okay. He can go on down the road.
I'm assuming we're going to see more of them if we don't get any rain, because they're going to be searching for water, I would think.
Yeah, I'm not. I just assume they just not look for me. I'm not going to look for them.
No.
Me either.
You stay away from me, I'll stay away from
But
you.
you're right. I mean, emergency workers, when they're out in the field like that, and they're out in the fields, they're looking for folks that are maybe wandered off the trail, or they fall down the side of the mountain. I mean.
Well, 3 weeks ago on the weekend, we had one lost that was hiking, and they had to spend all day catching. Then we had one fall at Foster Falls next weekend, and Had one fall over here at the, like I said, Mullins Cove, where they climbed that bluff. Had one that fall over there. So their last 3 weekends, they've been out just about all weekend working that stuff. So.
I remember, back when I was working the ambulance a lot, having to get calls with a lot of hang gliders, jumping off the hang glider launch pad up there, and they'd get caught in trees, and we'd have to basically hike down to where they were at. And, you're moving, maneuvering, you got a drug pack and you got a life pack, and, you're going down through there. And I remember jumping off the little areas and my leg bury up that I couldn't see it down in brush, and I'm going, this ain't no good. I don't know where it's at, having to get myself out and going down a little bit more. But, it takes a while to get in those areas. I mean, you can't get there quick.
Plus, you've got somebody, I think one of them had a broke leg, they had to have a stretcher and had to have all those people to carry him out.
It's it is not good, and you're right. I mean, of course, they didn't want to get themselves in an accident or get lost or whatever. But it does take a lot of manpower.
Especially if you have cave rescue. We call Hamilton County. They got specialists that do that. I'm not going in no cave. Y'all have EMA here?
Yeah, we do.
By state law, we have to have. Each county's got to have an EMA director.
Our 911 director.
And I'm sure I'm grateful, because if it didn't, I guess it'd fall back on the sheriff department, wouldn't it? I don't know. Who would? Everything else does. So I said that.
Alabama, I was amazed to find that the sheriff in Alabama, even if someone is unable to take care of their own finances, I know that sheriff was talking down in Jackson County that he has to take care. His office takes care of some elderly folks that can't take care of their own bills.
Oh wow!
I didn't know
and
that.
it falls back. I didn't know that either. I had no idea.
Chuck.
Chuck.
I ain't talked to Chuck in a long time.
And neither. I've talked to Chief Deputy Harmon, but yeah, they've got, evidently it's a part of that, the package that, let's just give it to the sheriff to do, So I don't know who does that in Georgia or Tennessee.
I've never heard of that in Tennessee.
Maybe probate court or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Adult Protective Services help some with certain things for the elderly.
But I can see where it needs to be somebody, either Adult Protective Services or the
Of course, we see more now elderly abuse than we do. I mean, it's starting to rise. Y'all see a lot of it?
Not yet.
Where older people are confined at home and supposed to have a grandchild or somebody taking care of them. You go in there and they're just laying in filth and stuff. We're starting to see a lot of that, aren't you?
Yeah, I put out a post last week about elder abuse and child abuse, stuff like that. If there's anybody that suspects that, please.
Of course, the ones that we had to deal with where we were wanting to remove them from the house, the people didn't want to leave the house, but they were living in filth and stuff. But it takes a lot. You have to get a conservatorship through court and all that, so it takes a lot of. But we see a lot of. And it comes down to the money. There's the grandchild or a daughter or son. Just, I mean, I couldn't never not take care of my parents if they were.
Absolutely.
I just don't understand that.
I don't either. I mean, I really don't. But you do see it happen.
We see a lot of it.
And I've heard a lot, and I guess so. And I'll ask you the question: have we seen a rise, or excuse me, not a rise, but a slack off of child abuse that's been reported? Because they say the number one reporting area is the schools for reporting child abuse, and since we've not been in school in several months, that's another concern about not getting these children back into school, that they may be getting abused at home
and nobody knows.
And nobody knows about it.
We have seen a slack off in it, and I think it's going to rise back up in probably late August, early September, if and when we start school.
I know Dade County's going back on the 13th of August, and last report's going to be about 85% of the students are going back. About 15% is going to be virtual at home. And you would think the students are going to do virtual at home, or either in high school or able to stay by themselves, or they have a family member that's going to stay home with them. Yeah. That type thing. So
does the school have to buy the iPads?
I think they're going to provide
They
them, and they.
What
our
do you mean
school system-
they had to buy?
I'd say a lot.
Because we bought 16 for the court system. Some of that money I was telling you come down from the state. Because actually yesterday we had our first grand jury in 6 or 8 months, and then Judge Angel, the youngest criminal judge, he's really progressive on electronics and stuff, and he and I got a grant together, and we put 70-inch screen TVs in all the courtrooms. And from his office yesterday, he swore the grand jury in and everything from pipe 40 miles away.
Oh, wow.
So I think you're going to see a lot more of that. And now the Sessions judge does bond hearings by virtual. We got a thing down in booking, and they'll bring them up there, and he'll interview them, and it saves a lot of manpower. You don't have to transport them up to court and all that. So I think even if things ever get back to normal, which now they're saying it may take years before we get back to normal, because even if they have a vaccine for it, how long is it going to take to vaccinate 320 million people?
Well, and then they're also saying that there's going to be 20 or 30% that say they're not going to take the vaccine.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, there will always be
There's
somebody.
going to be a lot of people that said they won't take the vaccine. So, it's going to be here for a long time, But we still got flu every year.
Yeah.
I mean,
And they're saying it may be a mixture of this and the flu about October, November, maybe even into February or something. So.
Well, I mean, it's very unusual with what we've learned now in the 5 months that we've been battling this is the fact that some people can test positive and walk around and don't even have a sniffle, and they're just going around like nothing.
No, I had 2 employees that tested positive last week.
Did you?
We've had 2 court systems. Our Superior Court clerk here in Dade County closed her office for 2 days while they got an employee tested that had a possible exposure. He came back negative, and then they had an employee that tested, I believe, positive in Walker County, and the chief judge closed the courthouse over there last week, and they were closed through yesterday, and they were open back.
Well, this one lady tested positive, worked as a cook there in the jail, but she had no symptoms, no temperature, nothing. Just we had a correction officer that tested positive, so I sent 30 of them to Park Ridge ER Monday afternoon. They were doing rapid tests. We actually got the results back in 2 hours. And
oh, wow.
Out of that 30, I had a second one that tested positive, and I'd send her home for 10 days, but no symptoms whatsoever, no temperature, nothing. She said, I'm fine. But
I talked with Sheriff Schrader down in Stewart County last week, and he had 9 employees that had a temperature. So they sent all them home to be tested, and couldn't find out. They think it may have been a faulty thermometer, so they're not sure. They were checking in that. I haven't heard from him since.
I took that test last week. Ooh, that thing across your eyes when you.
Oh, I did too. My
Have you
son-in-law
used to
had
do that,
it,
Sheriff?
so I had to go get tested.
I think the sheriff of Dade County ought to take it.
Hey, let me tell you, they go all the way up into your brain.
I hadn't had the antibody test, but pretty
Well, last time I was down here, y'all told me about that.
Right.
Well, I followed you up there, and then they would close 2 minutes after.
Oh, no.
And they wouldn't do it.
But I had done at Park Ridge last week when we had I tested 30, and the thing I liked about it was we had results back. We did it at 2 o'clock, and we had results back by 4:30.
That's good.
Well, that's very good, and
$40 a person.
Woo.
But knowing it for the line of work
Safety.
that you're in, you need to know pretty quick.
Yeah.
You can't wait 3 days.
Well, that's
a
what
week.
that's what I've asked. What good is it taking the test and waiting 10 to 12 days?
Yeah, it just don't. Unless you're asymptomatic, all it does is tell you 10 days ago that you may have had it. You don't know now
Exactly.
if you got it or not.
I mean, if you could take the test, then you had enough personnel to send, everybody home. But courthouse could do it. The mayor was talking about, you may have to shut the sheriff's department down. I said, I can't shut it down.
No, there's no way.
And so,
I got an email just earlier of a South Georgia sheriff's office got they're wanting to house this inmate out. It's got COVID-19, but they're asking any jail that could to house this person, but it's going to have to be probably a bigger jail, like DeKalb County or somewhere like that in Georgia. that has the facility, to treat
Yeah,
somebody like
but
that.
maybe I'm sure that there's bigger jails that got medical.
Sure,
boards.
yeah, and that's these smaller jails are not going to have that, so they were asking for big help. So.
Yeah, I don't know if there'd be any takers out there that would just want it.
Very few.
No. Because you definitely don't want to get it in your jail or.
Well, and then also you have to
The
it would have to have more than just your normal employees taking care of them too. So I mean, you couldn't do it for your average.
All you can
daily.
do is lock them in a room by themselves, quarantine for 10 days, and then staff, when they have contact with them, have masks and gloves and stuff, and everybody stay away.
Yeah, we're still screening everybody before they come into jail. See if they have fevers or anything or any symptoms.
Well, that is good. We'll take another break. Stay with us. Lots more still to come here on Sheriff Talk.
Hi, I'm Mike Cameron, conservative candidate for Georgia House District 1 in the August 11th runoff. First, let me thank the folks that voted for me and supported me in the June 9th election. I really appreciate it, and I hope I can depend on your vote on August 11th. For those of you who didn't vote for me, I would really love to have your vote and your support. I will go down to Atlanta and represent your conservative beliefs and values in the Georgia General Assembly. I would love to have your vote and your support on August 11th. Thank you so much.
A small bank with big service. Citizens Bank and Trust, offering a wide range of services, including online banking. Pay your bills, manage your account anytime, 24 hours a day. Your account balance is only a phone call away as well at 657-1234. Or visit our convenient locations. Lookout Mountain, Georgia, Higdon, Alabama, or our main branch on Highway 11 in Trenton. Citizens Bank and Trust, 657-5678. A community bank that believes in the community. Citizens Bank and Trust. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Landers McLarty Ford of Fort Payne is your destination for quality automobile service. Landers McLarty is second to none when it comes to service on your vehicle. You can drop by and see us on Glen Boulevard Southwest in Fort Payne. Call our service department at 256-845-1101 or schedule an appointment online at LandersMcLartyFordFortPayne.com. So whether you drive a Ford or any other make of car, SUV or truck, see our ASC certified and Ford factory trained technicians today at Landers McLarty Ford in Fort Payne. Gigabit Internet residential service is now available to customers of the North Alabama Electric Co-op with NAEC Fiber in Jackson and Marshall County. Residential gig service is now available for only $79.95. Call today to have your gig service installed at 256-437-5000. High-speed fiber residential gig Internet service now available to customers of the North Alabama Electric Co-op with NAEC Fiber. Business and commercial customers can get gig service too. Call for pricing 256-437-5000. Gig service from North Alabama Electric Co-op. 256-437-5000.
When you need a licensed plumber, call Stacy Ledwell and the staff at Mr. Rooter in Scottsboro. Mr. Rooter provides your home or business with advanced solutions using high-tech equipment. Our commitment to customer satisfaction shines through in our personalized service. When you schedule an appointment, our professionals will dedicate time to explain the work that has to be done. Our staff will give you upfront pricing, so you'll know exactly what's involved before any work begins. We even pump septic tanks and do new construction on houses. Fully licensed, bonded, and insured, Mr. Rooter in Scottsboro. Call Stacy Ledwell today to set up an appointment at 256-574-4710.
Back now to Sheriff Talk here on KWN TV. Glad to have you with us today, continuing our conversation. I, for one, have kind of switched and started watching a little bit more baseball, but the amount of rioting and things, is it seem to be calming down some, or what are y'all hearing?
I think it is.
Well, I didn't know that. I was talking to a trooper yesterday. I didn't know that they're still having protests and things in Nashville. They're not. I didn't see.
Know about that.
He said they arrested Saturday night. Arrested 22 or 30 that was still protesting at the Capitol in Nashville, and I didn't know that. He's talking about all the money they'd spent on overtime and bringing, because I think it actually falls in responsibility to the Department of Safety.
They're not televised as much as they
no,
were.
they're not.
If they are,
I didn't even know anything about that in Nashville till I was talking to a trooper yesterday. He was telling me that Chattanooga got troopers assigned, and in motels and they're having to pay them overtime. He's talking about all the money being spent, policing the protesters, and now they're evidently must have got out of hand Saturday night. He said they arrested, I thought he said 22.
I tell you, on that note, I want to thank our citizens out here that I've had several calls of how much they appreciate what we do and stuff, and it means a lot, because
It does.
we don't get that a lot. And even our officers, when they're out eating in restaurants and stuff, people are buying their lunches and stuff just to show appreciation. So we want to thank them very much for that.
People want law and order.
Absolutely.
You got to have law and order. If you don't, you're not going to have society. It's just going to be a breakdown in society. You got to have law and order.
And sadly enough, we've seen enough breakdown in our society.
Yes, we have.
The law and order is really the backbone or the glue that's held us together. And then.
But I think they're still having problems in Portland.
They are.
Oregon.
They're still burning stuff.
But like you said, they kind of quit. First week or two, it was every night. Now they don't even talk about it no more. I thought, how can you get used to riots every night? Can you imagine what the budget is for that police department?
Well, I've seen a lot of police unions and police like fraternal order police and different organizations that have come out and just showed their total dismay of what's happening in these big cities like Portland and
Chicago last weekend had 30 shootings and nine fatalities. So one weekend, 2 kids. Yeah.
I don't. That's where the outcry and the outrage needs to be.
Mm-hmm. It does.
I mean, that's what needs to be. We have to stop killing
anybody,
but kids and the babies. 11, 8, 9.
The only way I know to
4,
stop
3
it is
years old.
only way to stop it is get out here and police it. You're not going to stop it by all these programs that I know is coming down. If certain people get elected, there are going to be programs. I've been doing this 40 years. I've seen these programs come down, and they don't do no good. Sure. They do good for a while, but then
Yeah, I think the police want to police, but it's the mayors and the governors not allowing them to,
holding them back,
having their backs.
Yeah, and that's what's really sad to me is some of these governors and some of these mayors in these cities not having the back of a police officer, a man and woman that gets up every morning and takes their own life and lays it out to whatever they may encounter that day. I mean, y'all do that.
I just don't understand how America can get reelected in these big cities when they just allow lawless to be everywhere. I mean, don't the people? I just don't understand that. I've never been to Portland or Seattle, but surely there's the people that vote and stuff would vote them out eventually. I mean, I would think you want law and order, but I don't know. I'm thinking that here in the next couple of years we're going to see a change in some of these mayors in these big cities. I really do. Don't you?
You would think so.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would absolutely think so. And we've said it before. We live in a wonderful area of this country because there's just families that respect the police and want law and order. We want the boundaries. I don't know how we could do without law and order. I mean, how could you do without police? But there's actually people that are thinking that way, which is hard for me to comprehend.
I tell people that think that way don't live in the real world. I don't know what world they live in. They don't live in our world.
Well, luckily they haven't needed us yet, but that time will come. And then who are they going to call?
Well, that
lady that was on the city board there in Minneapolis said to sit down and have a conversation with it, see if you can work them out when that guy kicked your door in at 2 o'clock in the morning with a gun. Yeah. That was her solution. I'm sitting there going, we're in trouble. This country's in trouble.
Yeah.
When you get thinking that way.
You're not going to be able to talk them down. They kick your door in.
Well, when somebody comes in the house, if it's drug motivated, I mean, y'all seen that they'll abuse their own family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to care if they're breaking into a house and they don't know you.
No.
Well,
when they will steal from their own grandma.
Oh, yeah.
Not only trying to do away with law enforcement in some cities, but now you can't even protect, like the two attorneys that they the riders come on their property, they're trying to defend themselves, and now they want to prosecute them. You know, it's got to the point now you can't even defend your own self and your family. So
Now, I was proud to see the governor step up and said,
"Sure,
not in this state."
Yes.
You know.
Well, that
Yes.
lady DA, I think she's in an election today. I think her election is today.
Oh, really?
Yes, I believe that's right.
see how that goes.
Yeah. It's either might be it's either today or Thursday, but you know, she was during you know, and they say that was the reason she was motivated to even do that, file charges on this, try to win the election. I would have thought the opposite, but
I would have thought the opposite. I'm just glad we live where we do, in the South and Georgia and Day County.
You know, and y'all know the laws, of course, but I mean, just like that, the man and woman that were on their property, they had these protesters. I think they were headed supposedly to the mayor's house.
well, they had
broke
they had
down a wall or a gate to
gate
get in.
to get in.
You know,
It was a gated.
Community.
Well, I don't know if it was community or just that particular house was
Subdivision?
gated.
Yeah.
But they had destroyed his gate to get in, and at that point, they was on private property, my understanding. And you know, the man never did actually point the gun. The lady might have pointed, but she was, you know, but
Probably out of fear.
I would have, because they were screaming at her and everything. And I'm interested in see what happens in that case. I bet you it's dropped before it's all said and done.
well, I think the both of these are attorneys themselves.
He is, I know. I don't know
She
about
is,
her.
too.
She is too, is she?
So it looks like
Well, they had a
looks
beautiful
like they ought
place.
to know how to
didn't
fight it.
they? Yeah.
You know, so that should be interested in the. But it's a big Second Amendment case.
It is.
I mean, it really is. The fact that, you know, the right to protect your property. And I know that there's certain limitations outside on your land versus inside your domain, inside your house or whatever, but it's still their property, you know. And we've definitely seen property being destroyed. Definitely,
A lot of it.
you know.
I think when they tore the gates down, that's when, you know, that would put them in fear. If I was on the jury, I think it would be, you know.
Well, it was a violent act to break that door down.
Right.
I mean,
And they
you know,
had
to
seen
break
all the
gate.
violence around them the last few days too. So I mean, I think a rational person would have took the same action that those people did.
Well, you would have thought the DA would have never brought those charges, and then the
Exactly.
next step you would think a judge would throw it out. But, you know,
I don't think they've even had a hearing yet, have
Yeah, I don't think so either. I haven't heard if they did, but you'd think when it hit a judge, he would just throw it out. You would think. But
they? Well, like I
who
said, I
knows?
think it was all political because this particular DA had I think I seen on TV where she had election today or Thursday. So she was evidently thought indicting those two people would give her more votes. I don't know. Don't know the makeup of that neighborhood or whatever, so I don't know.
Not at all. Not at all. I don't either. It's just hard to really imagine that could be happening.
Mm-hmm.
I go back to the fact that when you were first running for sheriff, I remember there was some folks, and I believe at Crystal, that was asking you about would you let anybody take their guns? You know, and that seems so far removed back then.
It did.
You know, it was almost like, well, yeah, but think about it now.
But
I'll give the same answer I gave back then. It's not going to happen here. Before I do that, I'll lay this badge down. I'm not going to let them come here and take our guns from us.
Well,
For any law-abiding citizens.
people are concerned with me about federal authorities. You know, we work with federal authorities, but you know, Sheriff can tell you these U.S. Marshal stuff work with us. They're out here to get the bad guys. They don't want to bother good people with guns.
No. I think,
I've never heard one, you know, even act that way.
and I think the level that we hear on television, on the news, and the folks that that's the political realm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the mayors, and you know, that's just the talking points.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that really bothered me, and I know we got another break coming up here in a minute, and I don't know which city it was. It may have been Portland. I don't know, but one of the mayors called our officers Trump troops, and that just
Kinda
made
burns
me
you up.
upset because these are soldiers. You know,
They
it's the
are.
National Guard, and they called them Trump troops. Well, no, they're United States soldiers.
Yes.
You know, let's call them what they are.
Exactly.
And you know, the bottom line, they're Americans.
Yes, sir.
You know, they're in a role, and they've taken on that oath, just like you took an oath to be sheriff. You took an oath to be sheriff. You took an oath to be a deputy sheriff, and they took an oath to be a soldier. But they're an American, and to have somebody like a mayor call them Trump troops, that just bothered me.
And how they don't want them there, I don't understand.
No,
I don't.
It goes back to the law and order.
Mm-hmm.
Because those folks should be there protecting the individual's right to peacefully protest.
I see where they arrested one this morning, 18-year-old man that had broke into the federal courthouse there in Portland and had thrown some kind of homemade bomb in there and injured a U.S. Marshal. And they arrested him yesterday. And he's facing 20 years. Well, I think he'll get
That's
life.
not enough. Yeah.
Well, the intent was there.
Mhm.
If you
Yeah, it
threw,
was.
if you threw the explosive device
I was
inside,
surprised that they didn't
Anywhere.
charge him with more things
I am
than just.
too.
I think they charged him with trespassing and destruction of federal property. I thought, what
That's
hap-
all?
What about
What about
attempted
the
murder?
officer?
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
attempted murder. Yeah, on a federal officer.
Mm-hmm.
wow, I'm telling you. We'll take another break. Stay with us. More to come on Sheriff Talk.
When you or a loved one is facing a life-limiting illness, hospice care may be the answer. At Tapestry Hospice, the patient is the focus of our care. We're here to serve you and facilitate your wishes. Tapestry caregivers are concerned with managing your pain, keeping you in touch with your physician, and helping you make plans for the future. Hospice is life-affirming, and Tapestry Hospice can help you deal with all aspects of life, mind, body, and soul. Call Tapestry Hospice for more information. 706-383-8812. That's 706-383-8812. Tapestry Hospice. Redefining hope.
It's never a good idea for a lawyer to view the evidence of a case through the lens of another person. That's why at the Bandy Firm, we never send investigators or staff to go meet with critical witnesses, investigate the scene, or to inspect important evidence. At the Bandy Firm, Sean Richardson or Marshall Bandy personally meet with witnesses and personally investigate all possible evidence. With 65 years of combined trial experience, trial lawyers Sean Richardson and Marshall Bandy will be with you every step of the way. If you have been injured due to the negligence of another, call the Bandy Firm today. They will be with you every step of the way. The Bandy Firm, 706-935-STEP, or on the web at bandylaw.com. The Bandy Firm, every step of the way. Call 706-935-STEP. That's 706-935-7837.
What are you? Chicken? We are Guthrie's Restaurant.
Here at Guthrie's, we're happy to announce that dine-in is once again available. We're following all CDC and state guidelines to bring you dine-in service at all 3 of our Chattanooga area Guthrie's locations. No time to dine in? You can still take advantage of drive-through and take-out orders at our locations in Trenton, Ringgold, and Signal Mountain. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good.
Guthrie's Restaurant in Trenton, Ringgold, and Signal Mountain, and at Guthrie'sChicken.com.
The best chicken finger sauce in the world!
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere. And just growing up the way I grew up, and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
Back now to Sheriff Talk here on KWN-TV. Well, there's this talking coming back about school starting back. That means the school buses are going to be back on the road. I know Dade County is going back on the 13th. Jackson County, DeKalb County is going back. I think Marion County's on the day after Labor Day.
September the 8th.
September the 8th.
Oh, wow.
So the buses are going to be back on the road here real quick. And that always takes a little bit of adjustment for folks getting ready for
They've had there in Powell's Crossroads every year. They have a car show, probably one of the biggest in the South, and they've canceled it for Labor Day.
Oh, they have?
Wow.
Okay. Speaking of a big
Usually
event,
have 350 to 400 cars and huge crowds, but the people that put it on met last week and called me and told me that they had decided to cancel it this year. So,
Bo, any plans on that'll be next Cornbread Festival? When is?
I hadn't heard anything about that. You know, they canceled it
this year.
Yeah. So they'll probably get talking about it about January, February, because they have it the last weekend in April. So,
Well, I'm ready for some cornbread. But one of the events coming up this weekend is the 127 yard sale. The longest yard sale from Michigan to Gadsden.
Yeah.
And, of course, Dade County goes across Lookout Mountain. It'll be this weekend start. Now, it comes down part of your area, doesn't it?
no, it goes to Squatchy County.
That's right, Squatchy, and then over.
Comes down to Highway 27 there in Squatchy County and goes up through Dunlap and I guess towards Pottsville and Crossville. And that
Cross
way.
over the, and then across here comes Lookout Mountain Parkway down on through Lookout, Walker, Chattooga, and down into DeKalb County on this way to Gadsden. So there'll be a lot of folks out this weekend.
You ever been up there when they do? I mean, the traffic's just nothing because everybody stops. Every house has got
something
out front to sell, and everybody stops and gets out. And it may take you 2 hours to get through there, but but to have it this time of year, it's so hot.
Yeah.
I wish they'd have it about November or something.
Yeah, and then always in the afternoon. This will be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday, I think, the 4 days. And it's 127yardsale.com if you want to look it up. Anybody want to look it up on the web. And Michigan to Gadsden.
Wow.
Long,
That's
600.
a long
If I
drive.
remember, I talked about it on the morning show today. I think it's 667 miles, I believe. World's longest yard sale.
How do you actually get that started?
I don't know. Of course, we're part of the US 11 Antique Alley, and that was actually started here
I didn't know
by
that.
Bill Marshall. Bill Marshall started that. Dade County in the city of Trenton's the halfway point between Meridian, Mississippi, and Virginia, and Bristol, Tennessee.
Was this highway right here in front?
Yeah, that's Highway 11.
That's 11,
It's
right?
US
It
11
goes-
Antique Alley.
How far does it go? It
Goes all the way to New Orleans, I reckon.
Does
It goes a long ways. I don't know how far it goes.
And then if you follow it north, it goes all the way into Washington.
Really?
It's US Highway 11. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It goes all the way up, winds its way up. But the US 11 Antique Alley was actually started by Bill
So,
Marshall.
when it goes in Tennessee, does it still US 11?
Yeah, US 11.
Where does it?
I
Does it go
think
over
the
Lookout
state
Mountain?
road is Highway 58, I believe, up through 58.
Oh, yeah, okay,
That's
yeah.
US Highway 11, up through there.
That's like 64. You can take it all the way to Memphis, and I did it one time. It's not a bad drive. You go through about every little town between here, but you see a lot of good stuff. I'd rather do it, spend an extra hour and a half and do that than drive the interstate.
I think the US 11 basically or I should say 59 parallels US Highway 11 all the way down, because 59 was the interstate they built for US to take over the traffic off US Highway 11. That's the reason this is also named the Old Birmingham Highway.
I wondered how that name came from, or how that name came to be.
And we've got, it's got what I think 5 names they talked about. It's Old Birmingham Highway, Georgia Highway 58, US Highway 11, Main Street in the city of Trenton, and I thought there was one more.
I don't know.
But it's got several names here in the city of Trenton. But it's Georgia.
That's
58.
hard to keep up with.
Yeah, I think when we were growing up, it's 58, wasn't it?
Well, it's still
No,
50, it's still Georgia Highway 58.
But that's what we
but
called
nobody
it.
ever calls
Yeah.
it that anymore.
Yeah.
So US Highway 11.
And then
Highway 11.
136 used to be, was it 43?
143
Yeah.
when we were kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Young at heart.
Yeah.
But then they changed it to Highway 136.
Just how do you coordinate that from that 600 and something miles? How do you coordinate that?
I don't know.
I think it just kind of coordinates itself. doesn't
Yeah.
it? You
Well, there's a
have to.
website.
But,
and,
I mean-
it's kind of,
Now
I think
it does,
it
but in the beginning-
evolved.
Oh, I don't know. I got
In the beginning, I just don't understand. I mean,
I
I
don't
think it's a
know.
great thing.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing about, it's almost part of the South now. Sweet
is.
tea, football on Friday night, and yard sales are You know, they're in the top 10.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
You know, and Bryant's got their own yard sale across Sand Mountain now.
I didn't know that.
The South Pittsburgh's got what do they call that? They have that
Citywide
yard
sale.
sale that is once a year, and a lot of different local spin-offs. If you Old Dixie Highway down in Catoosa County that goes down that way towards Whitfield, they do one.
How far do Goodwills extend? Goodwill stores?
I know they're in Florida.
They're nationwide.
Seems like every weekend I'm at one.
Well, you know,
because you love your wife. Or you're scared of her.
I think they are nationwide there, Sheriff.
Yeah, we were in Florida one time, and she seen one down there, and I said, we're on vacation. I can't.
And you say, yes, dear.
Yeah, right.
We were going through Middle Tennessee on 64 one time and went into McNairy County, and that's home county view for Buster.
Mm-hmm.
And had a big sign, you know, turn left. So we had a few minutes killed, so I went over, and from the movie, I thought he would be out on a farm or something. Well, he's in a subdivision about like one of these right here. And they had taken his brick home was a split level home, and evidently they had bought the house next to him and tore it down because they had a parking lot. And we pulled in, went around there, and we were only that people there. His great aunt was older lady was there, you know, and it cost $14 to go through it. But the house was still the same the day he died. You know, he died in a car wreck.
Yeah.
And the thing that struck me there in the kitchen, the phone sitting there was one of them old rotary phones. And they let you walk through the house, and you could go downstairs into the basement. And the car the Corvette that he got killed in was sitting on a trailer down there, and then they had a little shop. And we spent probably an hour, 2 hours. But if you know, I've seen the movie I think twice, but I always thought he lived on a farm.
Yeah, I think the movie kind of portrays him as living out in an area with a longer driveway, I guess, than a subdivision.
It was a half block away from the baseball fields and stuff downtown.
Really? Well, I mean, there's no doubt about it. That was a big movie back in the 70s, and I mean, the fact that it was a real change, a real
do you
challenge.
remember when Mort Lloyd did the sports on Channel 12?
Oh, yeah.
You remember when he ran for Congress?
Yeah, oh yeah.
He got killed in a plane crash in Maryland. But anyhow, him and Buford Pusser was at the courthouse one time. He was campaigning for him, and I was probably 8 or 10 year old. We went there. Of course, he was about 6'4", and of course, when you're about this tall, I mean, he looked like a giant. But I met him, I guess, about 70 or 71, somewhere around there.
Well, I mean, you know, everybody can come tell stories, but that was an era of change with law and order.
Well,
he ushered in.
Yeah, if you go down that, I think it's Highway 29 that goes back into Mississippi. It's kind of like here. I mean, back in the 60s, you know, the older guys tell me we had as many beer joints at the state line in Alabama and Georgia as they did in McNairy County, but that was the problem. But you go down there now, and it's all Walmart and things like that. All the old stuff been tore down and it's been replaced by commercial stuff.
Yeah.
One thing I just remember about that movie that he found the law that he could design where the
judge
all the offices were, and he put the judge in
but
the basement.
he used the TCA code
in the
that says
bathroom.
Sheriff is in care and custody of the courthouse.
Right.
It's still in the books today. It can be changed has to be a unanimous decision of the county commission, but if they've never voted it, actually, on the statute, the sheriff is in care and custody. And that's the statute he used to put the judge in the bathroom, I think.
Yeah, upstairs in the basement. Yeah, I thought that was.
I like that part when he went in that beer joint, kicked that door open, and that woman said, "Where's your search warrant at?" And he said, "I keep it in my shoe."
Yeah, it was you know, that movie, you know, knowing that it was based on a true story, tragic story, of course, a very tragic story, but he brought a lot of change to that era.
Yeah. I've got his daughter's number on my phone.
Yeah, she used to come to Sheriff Association meetings all the time, but I hadn't seen her in a long time.
Mark Garner that worked for me that passed away, he was real good friends with her, and you know, he loved Buford Pusser in the movies and stuff. He got to meet Dewana, his daughter, and he got me a club autographed by Buford Pusser. Actually, they took a check and somehow transferred the signature of the check onto that club, and it's from their museum down there, and he sent it to me. And when Mark died, I called her and talked to her, and she knew Mark pretty well and pretty devastated. But since then, she's gone on. She committed suicide.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
His daughter had?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I had no
She
idea.
used to come to the Sheriff Associations and talk I hadn't been pretty active in Sheriff Association, but that was 6-7 years ago. She was showing up there.
Yeah, we were planning on going to the, they have a fair or something every May, and Mark and I were going to go up to that one day, and of course, you know.
Of course, they used to have those conferences, and they had that guy. You ever met him, that guy that imitated Barney Fife? You ever
Yes,
seen him?
yeah, I have. Mm-hmm.
He was good, wasn't he?
He was down here at the courthouse a few years ago.
And sad, but he
He's
also
passed on,
he
didn't
also passed away.
Oh, did he? I didn't know
They
that.
had him at the Cornbread Festival, and he'd go through there, and he had him
He'd
down
been
pat.
on these shows that we
They
have.
done.
Yeah.
He actually lived in Fort Payne in
Did he?
DeKalb County. Yeah, and he had that replica car, and well, he
Like Carter was exact.
oh yeah,
And he done
was
good in
great.
his uniform and everything. He looked just like it.
Nip it in the bud.
He went around tricking one day with that ticket. But
Yeah.
I'd love to have seen that.
It was funny, but yeah, he passed away 2 or 3 years after that. Really sad. But
He made a lot
enjoyed
of money
playing.
because I know what one organization paid him to be there for a day. It was a pretty good sum of money, so he must have made some good money.
I don't know
doing
who got that car, but it was a nice replica for sure. A Ford.
Ford, the
Galaxy
63
or
Ford Galaxy.
Yeah.
like that. Well, guys, just like that, the show is ending, and but we left on a good note.
Yes.
You know, talking about things that were fun to be around, and he done an excellent job with Barney Fife in that car. That is for sure. We'll see you. Thank you very much. Thank y'all for being here, of course.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching another edition of Sheriff Talk. We'll see you next week. You've been watching Sheriff Talk, live from the studios of KWN TV7, all around the tri-state area, as we give you information that you can use concerning law enforcement. Join us again next week for another episode of Sheriff Talk, a public affairs program of KWN TV7.